This is a disclaimer. The views that are expressed in this video are not my personal views, but are views expressed through a project that I had to make for history class. Hi, my name is Colin. I'm here to talk about the issue of immigration. This issue is a controversial one and has been in the news a lot in recent months. This is an issue that people are split on, with some calling for walls on our borders and tougher immigration laws, and others arguing that this is a nation created by immigrants that make this country better. In this video, we will identify some of the stereotypes about immigrants that are used to justify their exclusion and evaluate whether or not these claims are valid. One common stereotype about immigrants is that they're all criminals, or that most of them are criminals. In this clip, Laura Ingraham makes the argument that the majority of immigrants that come to the US are criminals coming to escape the law of their own country and commit crimes in another.
And I'll tell you tonight, there is continuous and sad evidence to substantiate his claims of the underlying crimes. Every day in this country, there are fresh American tragedies to report on. American citizens brutalized, abused, murdered by illegal aliens. Yet most of these stories are buried at the back of the local metro sections in your local papers. And most of them are never heard on national news broadcasts. Well, the media, they're too busy doing what? They're capturing every utterance of a few specific porn stars. So tonight, we're going to report on a handful of these American tragedies. In San Diego, a Mexican illegal alien, Constantino Banda Acosta, after a night of drinking, was charged with running a stop sign and slamming into a family's vehicle. A little boy in the back seat of the vehicle suffered serious head trauma and now has cognitive issues. Acosta fled the scene. In addition to being an illegal alien, Acosta had been deported 17 times. Yes, 17. Last week, a judge declared a mistrial in his case because they couldn't establish if it was he or the illegal alien in the car with him who was actually behind the wheel at the time of the crash.
While some people may agree with Laura on the notion that most immigrants are bad people, people like Anna Flagg would say otherwise. This graph shows while there has been a large jump in the immigrant population since 1980, there's been a 36% decline in the violent crime rate since then. There may or may not be a correlation between the immigrant population increase and the violent crime decrease, but there is no evidence to show that they have made any significant impact on the crime rate overall. I have additional evidence to refute this myth coming up from CBS.
The boys are from San Pedro Sula, the city with the highest murder rate in the world. They say they had to escape gangs that shot their older brother.
According to this CBS newscaster who's reporting on these unnamed boys who immigrated to the US, these boys left their home specifically to escape criminal violence. And from the way they act, it doesn't seem like they would want to inflict that kind of fear onto someone else. The two pieces of evidence that I showed demonstrate that most immigrants are just here to live a better life for themselves because they can no longer safely live where they came from. It refutes the stereotype that the majority of immigrants are criminals because a lot of them are coming here to escape crime. Another common stereotype we hear about immigrants is that they hurt our economy by taking jobs meant for American citizens. In this clip, Laura Ingraham makes the argument that immigrants are taking jobs meant for native-born Americans through some callers who say that they have been turned away from jobs for supposedly not being immigrants.
I was in a position where I desperately needed a job, and I went around to these locations that Dick said were only Hispanics, like in the restaurants, for example, in the kitchen, and I couldn't even get my foot in the door.
I've got 38 years experience in heavy demolition, and I've got turned down for 3 jobs because I don't speak Spanish.
Now, for a fair wage, Americans will do and have done these jobs, Senator Durbin. So stop lying to us. Preserving entry-level work opportunities for Americans is important for young people, and it's also really important for those who don't have a college degree, maybe for those who don't have a special skill set developed.
So let's look a little bit closer at the facts and possibilities. like this video that shows how many people answered yes to the man who asked them if they would take an entry-level milking position.
The first thing I wanted to know was whether there's actually any truth to farmers' claim that they can't find enough Americans to do entry-level milking work. So I decided to conduct a little experiment outside an unemployment office just a few minutes drive from the Immigrant Detention Center and a handful of dairy farms.
Excuse me. You all looking for work? Kind of doing a little poll. Are you looking for work right now?
Yeah.
Would you be interested in working on a dairy farm by chance?
For milking or something?
Yeah, milking parlor.
From what time to what time?
2 a.m. to noon.
It's a long shift in the middle of the night.
2 a.m.
No? Okay. All right. Would you be interested in work on a dairy farm by chance?
No, thank you.
No.
This video clip shows how Americans really aren't willing to take the jobs that immigrants are. Lauren Ingram is living proof that there are jobs with similar or better pay that Americans will take at the chance of, even over normal farming jobs, as she used to work for her family doing farming jobs, but now she's a news anchor. If she was so willing to still do that job, would she really be a news anchor now? This demonstrates that immigrants aren't hurting the economy by taking jobs that are meant for Americans, because they're taking jobs that Americans aren't taking. If you're turned away for not speaking Spanish, it's probably because understanding and speaking multiple languages is more useful to an employer than someone who can only speak one. Resentment of immigrants isn't a new thing. It's been going on as long as immigrants have been coming to this country. For example, this comic shows that there were many stereotypes of European immigrants, such as being unclean and disease-ridden criminals, basically being just completely undesirable. Similar to today, this stereotype was unfair because although this stereotype may be true about a few immigrants here and there, it is not representative of the whole group of people. However untrue this widespread belief was, native-born Americans were compelled to resent and exclude immigrants by kicking them out of businesses, pegging them all as criminals, and paying them less for the same job as a native-born person. What we should have learned from this is that it's not right to discriminate against people based on where they came from. We are descendants from people just like them trying to live a better life by going somewhere else. If we would have learned this lesson before, we would not be so vicious towards people who are just trying to find a better way to live today. Thanks for watching this video. I'm not going to ask you to like or subscribe or anything like that. This is just a school project that I had to make.